Then around 10 p.m. we heard it. A scream. Not a branch snapping, not an owl or a coyote. This was human. A raw, gut-deep scream that echoed through the woods. Welcome to Insidious Ink, where nightmares live and the woods never stay quiet for long. Would you still go camping if you knew something out there was watching you? And it wasn't human. Some trips are meant to refresh the soul, while others leave you haunted forever. I was 17 the summer this happened. My cousin Jason and I had been talking about a camping trip for ages. Something just for the two of us. No adults, no cell service, and no distractions. We wanted real isolation. Somewhere deep in the woods, where it felt like the world had forgotten you existed. We chose a dense patch of forest out in central Michigan. It wasn't a recognized campground. There were no marked trails, no maps, just raw, untouched woods. Locals called it unmarked land, and some even warned us not to go too far in. One guy at the gas station told us, "Don't be there after dark. Things walk differently in those trees." We laughed it off based on superstition, just a way to scare out-of-towners. It took us nearly half a day to hike deep enough to where we couldn't hear cars or people anymore. We found a clearing surrounded by thick trees, mostly pine and birch, and set up camp. The sun was starting to dip behind the treetops, casting long, crooked shadows through the brush. That's when we noticed it. The silence. Not peaceful, but quiet. Something more unnatural. No birds, no rustling leaves, no buzzing insects. Just a still, choking silence that made your ears ring. Jason mentioned it first. He looked up from unpacking and said, "You notice it's too quiet here." I had, but I didn't want to admit it yet. We made a fire, roasted some hot dogs, and tried to distract ourselves with dumb jokes and ghost stories. But there was something strange about that campsite. It felt like the darkness around us was getting closer, and it made us feel nervous. Then around 10 p.m. we heard it. A scream. Not a branch snapping, not an owl or a coyote. This was human. A raw, gut-deep scream that echoed through the woods. Distant, but chillingly clear. Jason and I froze mid-conversation. I remember how the firelight flickered against his pale face. "Did you hear that?" he asked. I nodded, slowly. Sounded like someone. We paused and listened, but the woods were silent again, like nothing had happened. No footsteps, no rustling, just that same heavy stillness. We convinced ourselves it was probably a hunter who got lost or twisted his ankle. We tried to laugh it off, but deep down, we knew something felt wrong. Still, we crawled into our tent and zipped up for the night. But sleep didn't come. At around 1:30 a.m., I was still lying there with my eyes wide open when I heard someone breathing just outside the tent. Not light or relaxed, but rather heavy and ragged, like someone gasping for air through clenched teeth. Then came the footsteps, slow, dragging across the dried leaves, circling the tent once, twice, then stopping right at the zipper. Jason had heard it too. I felt him stiffen beside me. We didn't dare to move. And then, pressing gently against the nylon wall of the tent, was a hand. I could see the outline of 5 long fingers just resting there, like it was feeling the fabric, testing it. Then came the voice. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was broken. "Please,
I don't want to be here.
It sounded like a man, but the voice was ruined, hoarse, trembling, strained, like it hadn't been used in years, like something trying to imitate a human. We were frozen, holding our breath, pocket knives clutched in white knuckles. After what felt like forever, the hands slid away, and the breathing stopped, and the forest fell silent again. We didn't sleep. We didn't speak due to the fear of what just happened. We just lay there, praying for the sun to rise. At first light, we bolted out of the tent. We searched the ground around our camp, but there were no footprints, no broken branches, no signs that anything had ever been there, except one thing. Back at home later that day, when I wanted to take my shower, I took off my shirt and noticed 5 faint bruises on my left shoulder, like someone had gripped me too hard. The shape was unmistakable. It looked like a handprint. Jason had one too. Same spot, same shape, same size. We've never been able to explain it. Due to the trauma, I haven't camped since. I won't even go near the woods at night. But sometimes, especially around 1:30 in the morning, I wake up to the sound of someone breathing heavily, right outside my window. I've always loved solo camping. The quiet, the isolation, the escape. That weekend I drove out to a national forest, hiked a few miles in, and found a perfect spot near a stream. The sun was low and the forest was humming with the golden hour calm. I set up my tent, lit a small fire, and started prepping dinner. That's when I noticed something strange. Across the stream, maybe 50 feet away, partially hidden between the trees, was another tent. It hadn't been there earlier. I was sure of it. It looked old, not like mine, with modern materials and bright colors. This one was canvas, faded and sagging slightly like it had been weathered by years of storms. I stood there for a few minutes, waiting to see someone come out. But nothing. No movement. No fire, no flashlight flicker, just silence. I shrugged it off. Maybe they were asleep early or just keeping to themselves. That night, around 2 a.m., I woke up with a start. I wasn't sure why at first. There was no sound, no wind, no crickets, just dead silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy and unnatural. Then I heard it. Slow footsteps, crunching twigs, dry leaves, just outside my tent. The steps circled once, then again. They stopped by the zipper entrance. My skin went ice cold. I held my breath. Then came a voice. A woman's voice, close, right at the flap of my tent. It was hoarse, raspy, like vocal cords hadn't been used in years.
Can you help me find my face?
I froze. Every part of me was screaming to move, to run, to do something. But I couldn't. I couldn't even breathe. The footsteps started again, retreating this time and fading into the distance. I stayed locked in place until the first rays of morning light filtered through the fabric of my tent. When I finally unzipped the door, the forest looked normal, calm, peaceful. But the weird old tent across the stream? It was gone. No sign of it, no footprints, no disturbance in the bush where it had been. I hiked out that morning without breakfast. I didn't stop until I was back in my car, speeding down the trail road with a pounding heart and a gut full of dread. Back home I tried to shake it, tried to laugh it off, but that voice wouldn't leave me. It started small. I'd catch glimpses in reflections, mirrors, windows, even the screen of my turned-off TV. A shape, tall and still, standing just behind me. Then came the sounds. Wet footprints in my hallway. Something dragging across the floor at night. A soft knock at 2 a.m. Always at the back door. And the voice, croaky and tired, with the same words.
Can you help me find my face?
One night I woke up in bed, paralyzed. Staring at my ceiling, I couldn't move, could barely breathe. In the corner of my room, a shadow stood, tall, shaking slightly like a broken puppet held together by invisible strings. It stepped closer. That same voice, inches from my ear now.
Can you help me find my face?
And then it grinned. Her skin looked like melted wax. Her eyes were just dark pits, and her mouth stretched far too wide, like someone had pulled it open with hooks. I blacked out. Now, I don't go camping anymore. I don't sleep without a light on, and sometimes when I pass a mirror, I swear I see a second face, just behind mine, still looking for hers. Not everything that walks in the woods is meant to be seen, and not every scream in the night comes from something human. If you've made it this far, you're one of the brave ones, but remember, some stories don't end when the video does. If this keeps you up tonight, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. You never know when the next story will come creeping in. And tell me in the comments, would you still go camping after hearing these?